Welcome to the Over 40 Alpha Podcast with your host, Funk Roberts.
We are live, brothers, and welcome to the Over 40 Alpha Podcast. This is episode number 40, and I'm your host, Funk Roberts, and welcome to the podcast. This podcast is dedicated to men over 40. Here I help men as we talk about workouts, nutrition, sleep, recovery, mindset, and everything that will help you boost testosterone and balance your hormones so you can be the best man you can be. And today I'm excited because in episode number 40, we're going to talk about the top 10 nutrients that men over 40 need to be taking but aren't getting enough. And, my host or my guest, Dr. Dominika Z, she's a naturopathic doctor. I love having her on this podcast because she's the wealth of knowledge that she has, again, being, a licensed naturopathic doctor here in Ontario. She's certified IVID and a BHRT practitioner. She does a lot of speaking and, health and wellness. But the key reason why I love to have Dr. D on or Dr. Dom on this podcast is because she also focuses on helping men over 40, on the hormonal side. So she understands the struggles that we have, but what we need to do. So having her on this podcast is huge. And every time we have her on the podcast, she's amazing. So guys, get ready and excited for the top 10 nutrients. But before we do that, one of the things I want you guys to do to help out with the podcast, number one, is subscribe. No matter where you listen to the podcast, specifically if it's Apple iTunes, please subscribe to the podcast so that you will get notified when new podcast episodes come out. We generally have these coming out every Wednesday. We've got some big podcast, guests coming on, I'm really excited about in the future, but the information you get from here is incredible. It's great for your knowledge and great to help you further your health and fitness, nutrition journey, right? Mental health journey, everything. So guys, please subscribe. And of course, as usual, we are going to have our monthly contest. So this month we are giving away Mind Muscle, which is our nootropic. All you need to do is go to over40shred.com or over40alphapodcast.com/contest and enter. You're going to do two things when you enter. Number one, this is a leave a review contest. So you leave a review, you'll enter to win, and then we'll be sending out 3 Mind Muscles, which is again our nootropic. It's our brain health, energy supplement. And we're going to be drawing 3 winners at the end of this month, which is March. So in April, we'll be drawing 3 winners. And how you enter is first, you'll go to the page that I spoke about, over40alphapodcast.com/contest. You'll put your name, your email address into that box. When you click submit, it'll take you to the Apple podcast page, which I will need you to leave a review and subscribe too. Do both. Leave a review and subscribe. If you do both, you'll probably have a better chance at winning and receiving that Mind Muscle. And then also, I just also want to let you guys know that I will be creating a page, which will be funksupplements.com/podcast, because I will have supplement recommendations that Dr. D hooks us up with. Because again, like I said, there are nutrients that we need as men, just in general, but you're going to learn these 10 nutrients that we need, but we're not getting enough of. And there's a lot of things happening in the world right now as I'm recording this intro for this podcast. The coronavirus, COVID-19, that's huge right now, specifically in North America. It's affecting our lives. And the one thing that I want to make sure that you guys have as you're watching this or listening to this is your health, is your immune system, and doing everything you can, no matter where you've started. You need to start exercise. You need to start, getting better sleep. You need to, get better nutrition. And then you need to supplement with a lot of these nutrients and supplements that we're going to be talking about today that's going to help boost your immune system. So I'm going to have a list of all the supplements. A lot of them are my supplements. Just to let you guys know, I have a supplement company. And the reason why I have a supplement company is more over for the men over 40. I'm not here trying to slang supplements. That's literally not what I want to do, because it's a tough business to get involved with. But I also want to be able to give you guys the supplements that I would use. Literally, the supplements that I create are ones that I use. Like I literally, okay, I need this type of supplement because I'm doing a lot of research and I'm seeing how this is going to help me as I get older. And then I just realized that, okay, I might as well just make this supplement and hook up my men over 40 in my business or what have you, in the company or the tribe. So I just want to let you know that I do have supplements. So some of the supplements are going to be my own supplements. And I love the fact that a lot of the supplements that I have are on this list, because that means that I'm doing something right in regards to providing nutrients you guys are not getting enough of. And then I may be an affiliate for one of the other supplements that I post on there. And then I may just give you a link to a supplement that I have no affiliation for, whatever. So I just want to let you guys know, but this is not about me slanging supplements to you guys. This is about you guys understanding what nutrients you are deficient of, that we need as men over 40, 50, 60 and beyond, why we need them, and then how to get them into our overall daily lives. So guys, enjoy this. This is going to be a super, super interesting, amazing, fun, and informative podcast. I truly appreciate you guys. Please make sure that you subscribe to this podcast and enjoy this podcast. Enjoy this episode. Okay, we are live, and welcome to this episode of the Over 40 Alpha podcast. I'm so excited to have Dr. Dom, that's what we call her. Dr. Dom's back. She's back. How are you, girlfriend? How you doing?
I'm good, Funk. How are you?
I'm amazing. Yeah, it's good to have you back.
Thank you.
You know, it's exciting, and today we're going to talk about nutrients and the 10 most important nutrients for men over 40, or probably for a lot of people, but
yeah,
we're going to hit the guys over 40 listening, but what we're not getting enough of. Is that correct?
That's right. That's right.
Okay. So, let's start us off. What are we looking at?
Okay. So, I mean, first off, I just want to list off a couple of points of regarding nutrition that are pretty well established, and that I want your listeners to be aware of. So it's quite possible that many of us are consuming too much sodium, which is associated with increased risk of things like, blood pressure and heart disease. So that's number one. And sodium will come from your processed foods, your refined foods. If you are a man who's vegan, vegetarian, who potentially has digestive issues, who's exercising a lot, maybe too much, is over the age of 50, has diabetes, or is under a lot of stress, it's likely that you are B12 deficient. Okay? If you are using antacids, right? So that's your Zantac or any generics or any prescription heartburn medication. If you suffer from hemorrhoids, or if you've had a history of ulcers, you may be iron deficient, which is not very common among men, and it's something that should be checked. If you live in the Northern Hemisphere, like we do here in Canada, you are most likely deficient or insufficient in vitamin D, which we're going to talk about. Unless you're making a concerted effort, you're probably not getting enough fiber and you're not getting enough potassium. I lump those together because high fiber foods also happen to be high potassium foods, namely your vegetables. If you're consuming a lot of caffeine, alcohol, again, prescription heartburn medication, or if you've got diabetes, you're most likely magnesium deficient. Okay. And then if you're chronically stressed, and by chronically, I'm saying more than 3 months, you're probably depleted on all of your B vitamins. And then if you have digestive issues, allergies, an autoimmune disorder, mood disorder, sugar cravings, insomnia, obesity, blood sugar issues, frequent infections, there might be something going on with your digestive system and probiotics. So now I'm not going to touch on everything that I've mentioned today, but these are things that I want your listeners to be thinking about and speaking to a healthcare provider about, to make sure that their unique health needs are being addressed.
Well, that's a big list, but I think that's really important, because I know that even as you're going through, I'm like, oh yeah, I have suffered from that in the past, or those things kind of just popped up. And then of course for me, knowing that in my group, and those guys, they ask questions all the time, a lot of health questions, and a lot of times though, the questions that they ask are more geared towards workouts and nutrition and that sort of thing. But I love that you're bringing this stuff up, because this will start to think, oh yeah, no, I've got that. Maybe this is, I should be looking more into, like, aside from the workouts and the nutrition plan that I give them and the foods that they're eating, now I got to look into, getting these nutrients or micro, vitamins and minerals.
Exactly. And if your guys are working out and they're following, a regimen designed to increase performance and stamina and faster recovery, then these are some of the baseline things I need to be considering, particularly if they feel like they're not perhaps progressing as quickly as they would expect,
right?
Or despite a really good workout, they're floored the next morning. These things should be considered, because they will affect physical performance.
Right. And then of course there's the guys who aren't in my program who are probably listening to this, who may have diabetes, may be obese, all of those things, because a lot of times, when you're eating unhealthy, or you're not exercising, or you're not focusing on your health, these are just like par for the course. You're gonna be checking off all of these things.
Yeah.
Right? So I love that you started with this.
Yeah, and some of the consequences of deficiencies, particularly in men, are things like depending on the nutrient deficiency, but in general, we can expect accelerated aging, lower fertility, lower libido, lower testosterone and potentially erectile dysfunction, difficulty in losing weight, lower energy and easy to fatigue, hair loss, increased diabetes risk, low mood and increased anxiety, a tendency to catch infections really easily, poor stress tolerance, like I said earlier, poor recovery after workouts, and then insomnia and possible sleep disturbance.
Right. So that's a litany of things that,
that's right.
A lot of us suffer from and don't know why. Like, why is this happening? Why is this happening? And yeah, like you said, for those who don't have a program or an exercise program, then all of these things will happen. So let's just back up a little bit and just talk about, like, you're talking about micronutrients, right? You're talking about minerals.
I'm actually talking both. So
okay.
The definition of nutrient is that which the body needs in order not only to survive, but to grow and thrive.
Okay.
The definition of a macronutrient is literally just having more of that one thing. So for example, your category of macronutrients would be your fats, your carbohydrates, your protein, and your fiber. And then your micronutrients are your vitamins, minerals, antioxidants.
Excellent.
So there's 7 in total, and we need adequate amounts of everything.
Okay. So yeah, let's dive in, right?
And it's funny. The first, when a patient sits across from me and says, "What's the most important vitamin or nutrient that I should be taking?"
Yeah.
And I give them a bit of a smart ass response. I say it's the one that you're deficient in.
Right. Of course. Yes.
Right?
Totally.
And so, but by replete, so what we want to do is we wanted to look at things like diet and lifestyle and any any medications that they may be taking, because those are all things that could potentially increase nutrient depletions. And we know that by repleting the body with nutrients that it needs, you optimize every biochemical reaction in the body.
Okay.
And there are a lot of them. Like the amount of zeros in terms of biochemical reactions that take place in the span of 1 second, I believe is 28 zeros.
Okay.
That's how many biochemical reactions. And magnesium alone is responsible for over 300 biochemical reactions in the body.
Yes, I know that. Yeah,
So we know that well. One take-home message that I want to make really clear today is that when the body is deficient in one nutrient, the body is very sophisticated in that it will triage nutrients.
Which means
it will, if you have a finite amount of magnesium, and if you're under stress, for example, the body will take your finite amount of magnesium and it'll send it to biochemical reactions, cells or tissues that will ensure your survival. Okay. Now, this is an evolutionary this has been selected for in human evolution for the purposes of survival. But it was only designed for short-term or acute survival situations. It was never designed for long-term situations. So in the short term, when you're running around in the, in the forest or jungle with like a loincloth or bear fur,
right, exactly.
Survival is important. And so if you're running, a magnesium deficiency, whatever magnesium you have is being shunted off to ensure that you have an adequate amount of energy readily available to you at all times to fight a bear or a tiger or run away.
Right.
But if you're running a magnesium deficiency chronically, that kind of triage comes with consequence. So cells that are depleted of magnesium don't work as well. They're not as efficient. So you have accelerated cellular aging. And accelerated cellular aging can start to look like diabetes. It can start to look like cardiovascular disease. It can start looking like cancer, low fertility, hair loss. So those are the things that I want people to understand is we have to just be nutrient replete in general.
Okay.
And I think that that's where we should all start, because we can get really fancy with things like herbs and different types of elixirs. It all comes down to your macro and micronutrients.
Perfect. And okay, so you may be touching on this later, but I just want to ask you a question because you said, start with what you're deficient in. But how do I know what I'm deficient in?
Many nutrients, both macro and micro, can be assessed either through a health history intake or blood work.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's not fancy. It's pretty straightforward.
So that's where we could start. But let's say, okay, I don't want to go to the doctor, or, we've got this virus going on right now and that's overtaking, but I want to make sure that my immune is right. I guess what I'm trying to say is now we just want to start taking all these nutrients that you're going to talk about. Let's just start there. And whether we're deficient in one or not deficient in one, we still need to get them into our body.
Exactly. Okay. And truthfully, worst case scenario, you can always rely on just a high quality multivitamin in the absence of data.
Right.
But the more data you have, the more laser focused you can be on your health plan.
Yeah, which is what we want to be, guys, because we want to be able to live till we're 100, but we don't want to be in a wheelchair when we're 100. We want to be still doing burpees when we're 100.
Exactly.
And, I've posted things on women, this grandmother who's 71 still doing CrossFit, or I think she's 81 actually, doing CrossFit. She's not crushing it and doing crazy things, but she's still active and, doing pull-ups, and it's just like amazing. That's kind of where I want to get to.
Yeah.
But, it all starts with making sure that our body's, at its peak.
Yeah. What's the point of longevity if you don't have quality of life?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's start.
So the first nutrient is vitamin D.
Okay. Love it.
What do you tell your guys about vitamin D?
Well, I tell them it's huge. I think, vitamin D is one of those vitamins for testosterone. That's where because my program is mostly based on testosterone. So for me, vitamin D is huge for testosterone, and of course, other health, and specifically your immune as well. And I also tell them that, you can get it naturally through the sun, right? Like get outside, stare at the sun. I do that. Every time it's sunny here in Toronto, I will go outside and just sit there and stare at the sun. My wife's like, what are you doing? Or I'll outside the window and stare, and she'll like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm just getting my vitamin D. 5 minutes is all I do, but it just allows me to kind of just get grounded. But yeah, that's one of the micronutrients that are huge for us guys.
Yeah.
But a lot of them don't get enough of it. They don't get enough of it.
That's right. Yeah. And so, we still have this belief that vitamin D is exclusively important for bone health.
Right. Okay.
And that is one of like 10 cells in the body, like 30 cells in the body that actually even have receptor sites for vitamin D. So it's pretty, we're limiting vitamin D's impact if we think of it like that. So you're right. It has a direct role in testosterone production and insulin control. So we know, for example, that the relationship between your vitamin D level and your insulin sensitivity, so they go hand in hand. So the lower your vitamin D, the lower your insulin sensitivity.
Right.
A different way to say that is you're more likely to become insulin resistant. So it's an inverse relationship. So the higher the vitamin D, the lower the insulin resistance, the better the sensitivity.
Right. Okay.
Okay. And so I have gentlemen coming in and their fasting blood glucose is up in the prediabetes category and their HbA1c is elevated and there's talk of potential metformin down the road. And I say, let's check your vitamin D. Because even medication will only work so much in the presence of a nutrient deficiency like vitamin D.
Okay.
Okay. And one thing that, because I talk about this in practice all the time, is I believe that vitamin D was incorrectly named a vitamin because the definition of a vitamin is a cofactor.
Right.
A cofactor is something that facilitates biochemical reactions in the body. If we actually look at what vitamin D does, is it's actually, when it gets cleaved in the body, it's actually a hormone. So it enters cells and it actually tells cells how to replicate DNA, which genes to turn on and which genes to turn off. So it's actually a much more elegant nutrient than a vitamin. It is actually a hormone. And so I am of the opinion that we should be testing for vitamin D at least once a year.
Right.
But there's no harm. And in fact, it's completely safe to take 1,000 to 2,000 international units of vitamin D a day.
Okay, good.
But we know, for example, severity with mood disorders and depression, autoimmune disorders, Alzheimer's, dementia, right? So which we're seeing is on the rise. So vitamin D is crucial.
Yeah, my mother is 77 and she's still very active. But, that's one of the things that her doctor just literally put her on like 3 days ago or something, or 4 days ago. So I reached out to her because I told her that vitamin D3 specifically, is like good for the immune. Because again, we've got this thing going on right now. So my focus now for everyone is immune. That's all I'm thinking about right now. Let's everyone get their immune up. But I told her about that. And she's like, oh yeah, I'm taking that last few days. I'm taking this much. She put 1,000 UI. She's got it all there. And I'm like, thank you. Okay. Because that's going to boost immune. But
she's a good pupil.
Yeah, but the fact that her doctor said, no, go supplement with vitamin D3, like get out there and get it in you. So I love that. That's the first one that you're talking about.
Yeah. So the second one that I want to talk about, because we're just on the topic here of insulin resistance and glucose control, is protein.
Okay.
And people don't think about protein when it comes to glucose regulation and insulin. But this is what I want people to think about. Protein helps to build muscle. So when people hear protein, they think muscle. The purpose of muscle is the greater muscle mass that we have, the longer we live.
Right.
For several reasons. The first is the more muscle mass we have, the more functional we are in terms of physical movement, and the less likely we are to, fall, injure ourselves. Right. But number two is muscle mass is a disposal site for glucose and cholesterol. Okay. So I have my retirees who are in their 60s, 70s. They're bean poles, right? They're so skinny. It's just tendons, right? And, they're eating really cleanly and all that. And they come back and they say, my doctor's worried that I'm on my way to diabetes and my cholesterol is elevated. How is that possible? I'm so lean.
Right.
And I say it's possible because you have no muscle mass. You need muscle mass for glucose and cholesterol to be disposed of.
Right.
Okay.
Bad cholesterol to be disposed of.
Bad cholesterol to be disposed of. Excess glucose to be disposed of.
Right.
So even cardiovascular disease, so doing aerobic exclusively does not build muscle mass. It just has you using whatever you have. You actually have to build muscle mass in order to improve metabolic markers like glucose, insulin, and cholesterol.
Okay. Right.
Okay. And then of course, muscle is also a reservoir for B12.
Right.
B12 is one of the only few water-soluble vitamins that actually gets stored. Some of it gets stored in the liver. The rest is being stored in muscle. And so if we want to maintain our B12 levels, we have to have sufficient amount of muscle mass to do so.
So muscle is so important. Yes.
So important. Yeah. So what do you tell your guys in terms of protein intake?
So for me, I tell them, okay, so, protein is going to be your base, right? Like for men over 40, because back, when we were 20s and 30s, we just everything was about protein, tons of protein. But as we get older, we still need protein. Like that's got to be the foundation. That's got to be with everything that you eat or drink or whatever when it comes to smoothies or what have you. But, it's not the most important, but it's super important because it's going to help with recovery. It's going to help with muscle growth. Again, sarcopenia is what men suffer from in their 40s, 50s, 60s, but it's a natural loss of muscle. So we need to build muscle as well as, losing belly fat and what have you. But protein is going to be that base. So, a good whey protein. I have my own whey protein, but like that's essential. That should be part of the, your plan.
That's right. And osteoporosis doesn't happen just to women. It happens to men as well. And it happens often secondary to sarcopenia.
Right. So
muscle mass loss.
Right. So osteoporosis, bone mass loss or bone
That's right.
Bone loss. Yeah. And sarcopenia. So it's a 1-2 punch that we do not want to be facing.
Exactly.
As we get older.
Exactly. Number 3. And because you're speaking to your mom and just about general immune health is whey protein.
Okay. So hold on. Let's slow down.
Yeah. Okay.
We just talked about protein before.
Yes.
That's just regular protein.
That's just regular protein.
Okay. Through foods.
Yeah. So you're exactly through foods, and 1 gram of protein per kilogram of body weight is your minimal bare minimum for protein intake.
Okay.
But then number 3 is whey.
Love it even more.
It's fantastic that whey just happens to be a protein. So you're getting a 2-in-1 benefit. But I border on fanatical when it comes to whey.
Okay.
Because it is a functional immune food.
Okay.
So what I mean by that is, for starters, it contains different types of what we call immunoglobulins. As much as 15% of whey protein components is immunoglobulin, and immunoglobulin basically helps to increase immunity. So there are 4 classes of immunoglobulins: IgG, IgA, IgM, IgE. Details that your guys don't need to know about, but all to say is that they improve antioxidant levels and boost immune function. And that's number 1. We know that that's what whey protein is made up of. Number 2, whey protein is a source of both glutamine and cysteine. Why that matters is because when you combine glutamine and cysteine, you make glutathione.
Right.
And glutathione is the master antioxidant in the body. During times of infection, we deplete glutathione faster than we can replenish.
Right.
If we've got inflammation, we deplete glutathione faster than we can replenish. Okay, and so we know that lower glutathione levels, and there's glutathione in every cell of the body, accelerates cellular damage and subsequent aging.
Right. So that's the big one, right?
That's the big one.
And that's for our immunity. But so you're saying that that's the one that decelerates the most, the quickest.
Correct.
The fastest. So we have to use outside sources, I guess. So that's where the whey comes in, to keep that replenished.
That's right. So the 2 amino acids that I mentioned, glutamine and cysteine.
Yeah.
So amino acids fall into essential and non-essential categories.
Yes.
Glutamine and cysteine become conditionally essential during periods of stress.
Okay.
So infection and inflammation falls under the category of stress.
Right.
And therefore the body's demand for glutamine and cysteine goes up.
Okay.
And so we need to make sure that we're providing a consistent flow of those amino acids into the body. And whey is just a perfect package.
Okay. So because whey, and then, I mean, you can get glutamine supplements.
You can.
Right?
Yeah.
But you're suggesting whey is better, maybe just because, why would whey be better than just a glutamine?
Well, first of all, it's a complete protein.
Right. Yes.
So you're getting your protein intake. It's a source of all other amino acids, which we need, many of which are essential.
Right.
And it happens to be a really robust source of both glutamine and cysteine to make glutathione. So studies have shown that at about 20 grams of whey protein a day, that after several weeks, that glutathione stores rise.
Wow. Okay. So that is interesting, because again, guys, and even myself, like I never correlated whey protein and immunity. Like, yes, I'm talking about recovery, and it's good to get in, and you need to get protein and all of the other stuff, muscle, and it's good for fat loss. It's good just for, the metabolism. But I never put the immunity portion of that in there. You know what I mean? And I think that's unbelievably important. And for those of you guys who are using whey protein right now, it's, you should be happy that, okay, let's make sure that I'm getting it daily now. You know, it's funny because I don't always take whey protein. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just taking I get protein in my everyday life.
Right.
But now it's kind of like, okay, maybe it's essential for me to take a scoop, put it in water, and just have that as a little snack in between, and just have that as a daily, right now specifically, to have it daily, just ensuring that I get whey protein inside of me, keep my immune going. That is massive, actually. It's a huge.
And it's cheap. Like I have some of my patients say, well, why don't I just take glutathione?
Right.
That's a great idea. However, oral glutathione, first of all, in order to source a good quality one, I mean, glutathione can be highly unstable.
Right.
And so you start to look at cost.
Yeah.
And then it's also very difficult to absorb through the gastrointestinal tract. So alternative ways of getting glutathione is through intravenous.
Right.
But now we're talking about it becoming a very costly treatment intervention. If we compare something like whey, where you're also getting the benefits of it being a protein, that it contains immunoglobulins, which are important for bacterial and viral infections, and the body very efficiently makes glutathione from whey.
That's amazing.
So you don't have to get fancy.
That's awesome. I love it. it. Okay, that's very good.
Yeah.
Very, very good. That's another check mark on whey protein, which, again, it's an essential for men over 40, essential in my program. It's like, you gotta have that. But now it's more like, before it was like, just take it, just have it there in case, you want to have a smoothie or, what have you. But now I'm marching to the beat of everyone. You need to have it now.
Yeah.
Everyone needs to be taking it every day. Just even if you're, like myself, I don't use my whey protein every single day.
Mm-hmm.
Now, starting today, I'm using it every single day, and it's just literally putting a scoop into some water, shaking it up, and drinking. My Lean Pro tastes incredible, so I'm excited that.
Yeah. We got to think about functional foods. Like, we can get really fancy for it with immune function and use immune herbs and all that. But really, if you just boil it down to the basics, I mean, whey has been around. It was first discovered almost 8,000 years ago.
Yes.
And at the time that it was discovered, it was literally being tossed out in the cheese making process. And it wasn't until Hippocrates, the grandfather of medicine, he said, no, this actually has real health benefits.
Right.
And that was 400 BC, so, more or less. So whey's been around for a long time. And when we sort of look at it, it's a pretty inexpensive functional food.
Absolutely.
Even for like kids, I have them putting in unflavored whey into pancakes.
Right.
Yes. Just to augment the protein content and also give them the immune boosting effects.
Yeah. I mean, I was giving my son protein, using protein powder with my son when he was like 11, I think, starting at 11, put it into his oatmeal, and it would be like, that's just part of, that's all he knew. That's what he knew. He's like, oh yeah, protein's great. Yeah. So it's good.
Yeah. Number 4 is my favorite mineral of all time, and that's magnesium.
Yeah. Magnesium is insane.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. So the recommended daily allowance of magnesium is about 420 milligrams per day.
Right. But
like reports here in Canada, tell us that without even testing people, just from surveying, thousands of Canadians, they concluded that Canadians are deficient in magnesium.
Yeah, and I think that's North American wide for sure.
And that's what I was going to say.
Like that too.
Yeah, I was going to say that that we can probably extrapolate those survey results to the U.S. And probably just worldwide. Totally. Yeah. So we mentioned earlier that magnesium is responsible for over 300 biochemical reactions in the body, namely even making serotonin, which is important for mood, helping with sleep because it helps make melatonin, and it does so also by helping lower the stress hormone cortisol. We can't even efficiently burn glucose as a source of fuel in the absence of adequate magnesium.
That's important actually right there. Because then
So
if you can't burn it, you're going to store it.
that's right.
Right.
That's right.
Yes.
So it's almost like a conveyor belt. It's getting kind of stuck. You've got all the pieces, but you're just not moving the pieces along.
I just let you know, guys, when we say storing glucose, that means it's fat. You're storing fat. You're
That's
holding
right.
on. That's that belly fat that a lot of us men have a tough time getting rid of. That's it. That again, there's so many different things that will cause belly fat storage, but this is, that lack of magnesium and not the ability not to be able to get rid of the glucose is key.
Yeah. So if you're consuming more than a coffee a day,
Mm-hmm.
if there's, moderate to high alcohol consumption, if you're stressed, if you are taking any kind of blood pressure medication, any kind of diuretics, we just have to be careful with magnesium because we're more likely to deplete it.
Right.
And so a very safe mineral to take. I don't know if that's something that you recommend to your guys.
100%. That's one of the supplements for sure. Magnesium supplement. But one of the things with magnesium that can be tricky is that there's so many different types of magnesium. Like
that's right.
7 or 8. I think there's 7 for sure. I'm sure there's more, but there's 7 main ones. And each one has a different, you take magnesium citrate, whatever, that's more for one function. You take another type of magnesium, it's more for sleep. So, a lot of people get confused. They're like, okay, well, I'm taking this magnesium, but I don't want to take it in the morning because the magnesium I'm taking helps me to sleep. It's like, yeah, because that's that type of magnesium that you're taking. Probably that supplement is just specifically, puts that much magnesium in and depletes you from the other ones. But there is a magnesium supplement that, thank goodness that our guy Wade Lightfoot, I had him on the podcast who talked about magnesium, and he has 7 different magnesium types of magnesium in this one supplement, which is great because now that you can take a good supplement that's going to have all that magnesium and not make sure that you get enough of it. Yeah,
and not have you running to the bathroom.
Exactly.
Because some magnesium forms have a pretty strong laxative effect.
Exactly. Yes, it does. So I like this one. It's I can't even read it from here. Yeah, it's just a complete magnesium. I'll have links to all of these supplements or the supplements that I advise you guys to grab during this. But yeah, magnesium's huge. Like that's got to be one of those, like you have to have that one.
Yeah. Pain, mood, stress,
testosterone,
sleep, testosterone production, all of it. And for anyone who's wondering, I mean, you can supplement, you can also have that tested in the bloodstream,
right? Just to
make sure that you're at least 50th percentile of range in the blood, ideally 75th percentile.
Okay. And muscle too, guys. You want to build muscle.
Of course.
It's like, that's like a, one of those elite super supplement, right? I don't know.
That's right.
They have super foods. We got to start making super supplements.
Okay,
these are the super supplements that are here. Actually, what we're doing right now? We're probably going through the super supplements right now.
We are.
You're giving us all the
exactly.
Yeah,
that's
so
right.
Here we go, guys. We're building the super supplement list.
Number 5, omega-3 fatty acids.
Love it. Yes.
So do you talk to your guys about?
I do. Yeah, I used to have an omega-3. Again, I mean, one of those essential, to help with getting those healthy fats, help with keeping inflammation down, help with recovery. Just a lot of us have more omega-6 and omega-9 than we have omega-3. It's actually, I think it should be flipped. We should have way more omega-3s than we do have omega-9 or omega-6, but it is the opposite. So we're not getting enough, where a lot of us are deficient of omega-3s. And we think we may be getting it through foods and that sort of thing, but I mean, this is something that we're definitely deficient of.
Yeah. So historically, humans consumed omega-6 and omega-3 in the ratio of 7-1.
Okay, right.
And modern diets have now increased that omega-6 to omega-3 ratio to 21-1.
Really?
So three times more omega-6 in the diet than we've previously been consuming. And
what do we need?
We need 7-1.
Okay, that's what it should be. 7-1. Okay.
I mean, your omega-6 comes from things like nuts and seeds and your vegetable oils, which are pretty commonplace in our diet. Your omega-3 fatty acids come from fish.
Yeah.
They come from flax. They come from, there's English walnuts, algae. But I mean, how many of us are consuming fish? I mean, the World Health Organization recommends at least 2 servings of fish per week.
Right.
just to get a sufficient amount of omega-3 for the maintenance of good health.
Mm.
If anyone has additional health issues, so inflammation of the joints, arthritis, if there is any issues with cholesterol, with heart disease, with mood, with the ability to, someone saying I'm having difficulties with memory or cognitive function, to be able to think, we need to then be increasing our omega-3 intake.
Right. And so what can you do you know what happens if we have more? I was watching something, a doctor was talking about what happens when we have more omega-6 and omega-9, so we have omega-3s, what's actually happening to the body?
So both omega-3 and omega-6 are, they control the inflammatory pathway. The inflammatory pathway includes molecules called prostaglandins, and prostaglandins modulate the degree of inflammation that the body will produce in order to fix something. Now, when we are omega-6 deficient, omega-6 is pro-inflammatory. It'll swing that inflammatory response in the direction of excessive inflammation.
Right.
Omega-3 is anti-inflammatory. It swings the inflammatory reaction into the less inflammation, more controlled inflammation. Mm-hmm. Because when we hear the word inflammation, we think it's a bad word. Mm-hmm. It's uncontrolled inflammation, or inflammation that doesn't end.
Right.
That's damaging to cells, tissues, organs, or the body. We need inflammation to complete the healing process. Okay. But many of us are so there are stages to inflammation, and we'll often stall at stages 2 or 3 of inflammation. And that's when the itises develop, your arthritis happens. And so taking omega-3 fatty acid, which is anti-inflammatory, kind of helps the body graduate from having stalled at stage 2 or stage 3 of inflammation and complete the whole process and heal.
Right. And then where does omega-9s fit into this whole picture?
Omega-9s are actually non-essential. So the definition of essential is you have to get it from food because the body doesn't make it on its own. Omega-9 is not an essential fatty acid. It is made de novo in the body, so from scratch. And so when you see omega-3, 6, 9, the omega-9 is...
It's just...
You don't need it.
And I think we have more omega-9s just in general because we're not getting enough omega-3s.
That's right. And it skews that balance as well.
Right. That's huge because a lot of companies, supplement companies, will push omega-3, 6, 9. I have a lot of people say to me, well, I get a lot of omega-9s or omega-6s. I'm like, yeah, but that's the ones that we don't need. We need the omega-3s. And you saying that it's generally 21-1, it should be 7-1.
7-1.
That's a massive. Like if you think about that, that's 14 points. Like that of over consumption or whatever the word is of the omega-6.
Omega-6,
which means we need way more omega-3s. We got to skew that the other way so that we can be healthy. And again, with inflammation, getting healthy fats, healthy fats in the body's omega-3s. So supplementing is pretty much the only way at this point for most people. For most people,
if you want to dose much higher. And I mean, right now, people are not crazy about consuming fish for ethical reasons, for environmental reasons, or they just don't know how to cook it or it's too smelly.
Yeah.
So your supplements are a fantastic way of getting it. I mean, my mom tells me, when she was younger, they would just line up at school and they would give them a tablespoon of really fishy smelling cod liver oil.
They used to do that with me too. I'm being dead serious. We used to have to take cod liver oil in school, in grade school. Like when we were I think it was kindergarten. I can't even remember, but yeah, we'd all line up. The teacher would pour it. It'd be like, it would be like, oh, so gross. And my mom used to give it to me. Oh yeah, cod liver oil was like huge.
Yeah, and now fish oil has come such a long way. It's not smelly anymore. No. They'll add lemon flavor, a little bit of vanilla extract. Some patients have even told me it tastes like a cupcake, and I'm like, well, you know what?
What are you taking?
If it tastes like a cupcake, keep taking it. Right?
Exactly. Yeah. That's awesome. Okay, so omega-3 is huge.
Omega-3. Next is zinc. Now, I want all guys to, when they hear zinc, I want them to hear testosterone.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Because I want them to think testosterone because it helps with testosterone production. It actually prevents testosterone from being converted to estrogen. And it also helps, zinc also helps testosterone from being converted to the less sought after testosterone metabolite, dihydrotestosterone.
Right. Yes.
Okay. So zinc is crucial.
100%.
I don't know. Is that something that you speak to your guys about? Yeah.
Yeah. So, we talk about macros and we talk about micronutrients. In fact, when I go through the nutrition program, my MetaTest Boost nutrition plan, I talk about macros, but I let everyone know how important micronutrients are and how important the foods that you're eating will supply you with the micronutrients that will help boost testosterone, that'll help keep estrogen down, keep cortisol down, inflammation, insulin at bay. So a lot of other diets out there just focus on the macros, you can't eat fats, you can't eat this, you can't eat that. Whereas mine, I focus on the micronutrients. So the reason why you're eating, so here are the list of the micronutrients, which are a lot of them we've already talked about, zinc being one of the big ones, magnesium, selenium, boron, which all support testosterone and decrease estrogen. So I talk about the foods that they're eating will give them those micronutrients. So now when they're eating those foods, it's not just about, I've got my carbs. It's like, the reason why I'm eating this food, potatoes, is because it has selenium. The reason why I'm eating this food is because it has zinc. And I understand what zinc is doing for my body. So a lot of the times for this plan, it's more about why you're eating the foods, the micronutrients that they have, and how those micronutrients help with the hormones. So zinc is a huge one for us. But once again, I know that we may not get enough zinc in foods, right?
Right. I mean, we know that, big sources of zinc will be, your pumpkin seeds.
Right. Yes.
Your green leafy vegetables, but there's only so many pumpkin seeds and green leafy vegetables that you can choke down after a while. So it's provided that you take it in safe amounts. Zinc is perfectly appropriate to take orally.
Amazing.
One thing to keep in mind is should you take doses of zinc higher than, about 20-25 milligrams per day long-term, then you probably want to be speaking to someone about that because there's a possibility of running a copper deficiency.
Oh, too much zinc gives you copper deficiency?
That's right. So long-term supplementation with zinc. So when I say long-term, I mean more than 3 months. Increases your risk of a copper deficiency. So some supplements will actually contain both zinc and copper to mitigate that risk.
Yeah. So a good multivitamin that has all of them.
That's right. That's
perfect. Yeah. You don't need to go get your own zinc supplement, but if you have a multivitamin that has zinc and copper in it, would be even better.
Yeah. And then you just top up with food sources.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. But, we've talked about podcasts in the past where, men's testosterone peaks at about 30 years of age.
Yeah.
And we want to have things in place to help maintain testosterone levels as men age, because the lower the testosterone levels, again, accelerated aging, symptoms of mood and sort of that truncal obesity, which we've talked about, insulin and all that. So we want to be making sure that zinc is addressed.
Amazing, love it.
Yeah. Next on the list is B6.
B6, yes, okay.
B6.
B6, okay.
We're number 7? Okay, yeah. Okay. Thank you for keeping track of that.
No problem.
B6 supports the production of melatonin, which helps with sleep. B6 is also important for mental health because it helps with the production of serotonin and norepinephrine. So both of these are neurotransmitters that enhance mood and sense of well-being.
Right.
Yeah.
Keep on.
I was going to say, and because we are exposed to quite a bit of exogenous estrogens in the environment, B6 also helps the body metabolize estrogen, either estrogen that we've made ourselves or that we've been exposed to from the environment.
Yeah, that was, I was going to talk about that actually. The B6 and estrogen is the reason why I talk about vitamin B in general with my guys is on the estrogen side, right?
That's right.
Again, it's more, we got to do everything we can to keep estrogen low,
yes,
and keep testosterone high. So, there's a mix. You're going to have micronutrients, vitamins, minerals that are going to help you boost your testosterone, but we need those other ones that are going to help metabolize estrogen. So yeah, vitamin B is one of the ones that we talk about as well, for sure.
And B6 will actually, when there is perhaps too much estrogen in the body, B6 has a way of modulating how much estrogen stimulates cells in the body. So estrogen binds to receptor sites, and B6 will regulate that. So you're still not getting too much estrogen stimulation despite the presence of estrogen.
Right. So even if so that's good, because there's a lot of guys. So for instance, let's say, I do have men who, when they're coming into the program, or just men who aren't even in the program, but they have man boobs, right? They have a lot of estrogen. They have a lot of estrogen. So it's going to take time as they go through the program to get rid of that. There's a lot of things that you need to do to get rid of that, the man boobs. There's the nutrition and what you're eating and keeping the estrogen down. There's a workout. So it does take time for that to go. It doesn't go in 30 days. Sometimes it takes 6, 7, 8 months.
That's right.
For when I start seeing the before and afters, there's one person specifically that I'm thinking about that had massive man boobs when he came in, and now they're pretty much almost gone. It is 8 months later, but he's just been consistent. But I'm not sure if he's even taking a B6. So I'm sure adding now a B6 or a multivitamin, the B6 in there or whatever, is going to help. Maybe just like that last bit of.
That's right. And just elevate his performance.
Right. That's huge. That's huge. Yeah. That's huge.
So that's my second important vitamin after vitamin D.
Oh, it's B6.
Yeah, it's B6.
And should you be taking a B6 supplement by itself, or can you get that in a multivitamin? In a
multivitamin. So long as the multivitamin that you're using is a high quality one.
Right. Yes.
And when we use the word high quality, there's a few things that we want to be looking at. We want to be looking at, does it contain all of the vitamins and minerals that I want to be taking?
Right.
Does it contain those vitamins and minerals in adequate doses?
Right.
Right. So there's a term that we use in the supplement industry, and it's called fairy dusting.
Right. Yes.
Right.
I know it very well.
If a multivitamin just has fairy dusting amounts of vitamins and minerals, it's probably not going to have that big of an impact on you than one that is higher quality. And you also want to make sure that when you're getting, if there's magnesium in the multivitamin, you want it to be a good form of magnesium, which we talked about moments ago.
For sure.
And then lastly, that there be a limited amount of non-medicinal ingredients. Right. So capsules tend to be better absorbed than tablets.
Yes.
Because tablets require a lot of binders to pack down. And as a result, it could be a little bit more difficult to digest, whereas capsules dissolve almost instantly upon, impact with liquid or stomach acid. So,
amazing.
But you can get that from a multivitamin.
Good. I'm excited you're saying all this, because we have a multivitamin that's coming out for men. By the time you guys listen to this, it's coming. It's already out there. So, we have vitamin B6, but we only have 7.5 milligrams. Is that enough?
Oh, that's plenty. And when I talk fairy dusting, I'm talking about like 1 milligram.
Right. Okay.
Per day,
that's what I thought. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. As long as you're reaching minimum effective dose, you're getting the benefits.
Which is what we have in all of what's in there. So I'm happy.
My next macronutrient, so I believe we're on number 8.
Yes, 8.
8 is fiber.
Okay.
And fiber, we can sort of also put that under the umbrella of just following a plant-based diet. So a plant-based diet does not mean vegan or vegetarian.
Right. Thank you.
Right. It simply means getting a lot of fruits and vegetables or plant-based foods into your diet, in addition to moderate amounts of animal protein.
Right.
And so the general rule for the amount of fiber that we should be consuming is about 14 grams per 1,000 calories consumed.
Okay. 14 grams per 1 calorie. Okay.
So if you're on a 2,000 calorie diet, you should be getting about 28 grams of protein.
And what would that look like? Do you know that right off the top of your head?
So for example, an avocado, if I'm not mistaken, is about 4 grams of fiber.
Right.
A cup of lentils is pretty solid at about 8 to 10 grams of fiber.
Okay.
A serving, if we're thinking of commercially available products like Benefiber or Metamucil, you're looking at about 4 grams of fiber.
Okay.
So long as you're getting a variety of plant-based foods in your diet, it's actually pretty easy to get 28 grams of fiber when you're consuming a 2,000 calorie diet.
Okay, that's big actually. What so like spinach and kale and those things as well.
Kale, your nuts and your seeds, your fruits and veggies, your beans, your grains.
Okay,
we're where you're getting it.
Okay, we're good. We're good. Everyone is good. Everyone, because one of the things that I have these guys do is post their foods into our private Facebook group. We have a support. So every day I get a ton of people posting their foods, and we go in and just say, okay, this is good. This is, maybe need a little bit more of this, a little bit more of this, just because it's hard for, at first when someone's coming in, they're thinking about counting calories and macros and weighing, and we don't do that at all. It's just, here's the plate, and here are the 4 quadrants, and this is what you need to have, with more being fruits and vegetables per meal.
Yes.
So I like the fact, and then of course most of the guys eat avocado just because it's the fat that it's the easiest to put with food, and there's not a lot of healthy fats out there that you can eat. There's a very there's aside from the proteins and the vegetables and what have you, healthy fats is a very tough one. You don't want to be eating nuts every single meal. So avocado, most of these guys are all eating avocados, which is great.
Good. Yeah.
So, we're getting it in there. So I like the fact that fiber and getting it through that is fine. Now, I've heard that too much fiber can be detrimental. Is this true, or is this?
Well, so 14 grams of fiber per 1,000 calories consumed is the sort of going amount. If there's a pre-existing issue with things like cholesterol or diabetes, the recommendation is to actually consume about 35 grams of fiber per day.
Right. So I'm glad you said that, because we also have a diabetes solution program coming out for men with type 2 diabetes. Got people with type 1 diabetes, they already know kind of what's happening because they've probably had it since they were in their teen years. But guys who have type 2 or are on the cusp of type 2, or it's in their family, the nutrition plan's a little bit different there because it's more fiber-based. Still have to have everything, but it's more fiber-based. So they even have to have more fiber.
They do.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, in terms of excess amounts of fiber, it's possible, and the side effects of that would be just bowel issues, particularly if you're not hydrating adequately. Yeah. But 35 grams per day of fiber, which is, by the way,
that's a lot.
It's a crap load of fiber.
That is a lot, man. That is a lot.
Like you're eating veggies all day, every day, right?
That's right. Yeah.
So I want your guys to sort of think of the fiber is not so much for bowel regularity, although it promotes it, which is great for lowering the risk of colorectal cancer, but it's mostly for the metabolic markers, where you're going to be getting the most benefit.
Perfect.
Right, because fiber will lower blood sugar just by lowering the insulin index of a food. Right. It also lowers cholesterol because it actually captures it in the bowels and helps you eliminate it.
And again, guys, we're talking about bad cholesterol, right? Because I always tell these guys, in order for you to even produce testosterone, you need cholesterol.
You need cholesterol,
so a lot of guys well, you just said, so I want to make sure you guys, there's good and bad cholesterol.
That's right.
When we say cholesterol and we're talking like this, it's bad cholesterol.
That's right. Your LDL. Number 9 is, it's just a general umbrella that I'm going to call antioxidants.
Okay. Excellent.
So your antioxidants are your vitamin C, your vitamin E, your coenzyme Q10, your alpha lipoic acid.
Okay.
And you'll often find these ingredients in a comprehensive multivitamin mineral formula. One of the roles that these antioxidants play is actually helping with the recycling of glutathione in the body.
Okay, back to the glutathione.
So we're back to the glutathione, right? So we produce glutathione, the glutathione goes and gets used up by cells.
Right.
And then it needs to be recycled. And in order to recycle it, we need your vitamin C, your vitamin E, and your coenzyme Q10.
Perfect.
Okay.
Yes.
And so, these are definitely available through food. Again, nuts and seeds, fruits, complex grains, fruits and vegetables.
Blueberries, right?
Blueberries, yes. So you want to be looking at the antioxidant index of foods. So blueberries have a very high antioxidant index.
Right.
And just making sure, because again, we're living in these modern times have us losing antioxidants quicker than we can replenish.
Right.
The environment being higher in pollutants and toxins and that sort of thing. So we just need to be making sure that we have a constant flow of antioxidants coming into the body.
Right. Good.
Okay.
Okay. Yes.
And then last but not least,
Number 10.
I'm being a smart ass here,
Oh.
is the 10th nutrient, the most important nutrient, is actually the one that you are deficient in.
Right. Okay. Good.
And I say that because I'm hoping to address those gentlemen who may be on prescription medication.
Right.
So for example, if you are on a cholesterol lowering medication, you are at increased risk of coenzyme Q10 deficiency.
Okay.
If you are taking metformin, you are at increased risk of developing a B12 deficiency.
Okay.
If you are on a heartburn medication, you are at increased risk of developing magnesium, calcium, and a zinc deficiency.
Okay.
So all of these matter. So the 10th nutrient is the one which you uniquely are deficient in.
So what if you are taking these prescription medications? I guess I just answered my question. You need to supplement.
You need to supplement
because you need to take that prescription medication for whatever
that's right.
is trying to aid you in. But then that means you need to really up the other supplemental.
Correct.
Things that you're going to be deficient on.
Correct. So the deficiency that you're running as a result of the prescription medication is not a reason to stop the medication.
Right.
We just simply customize your health plan to ensure that we're filling the gaps that are being created by the prescription medication that you need.
Huge. That is big, because a lot of times people don't do that. I know that for me, when I was taking prednisone, I don't know what prednisone. Well, I know what prednisone did to my body. It absolutely destroyed it. But my doctor wasn't telling me about what deficiencies, or he wasn't really even going into the details of what's going to happen to me. He kind of flossed over, okay, you'll probably do this, but his focus was helping my lung disorder. That's his number one thing. It wasn't about all the other stuff. Listen, we need to get this first.
That's right.
So I'm throwing that, like, whatever happens, we'll deal with that after, but let's get this first.
Exactly.
And one of the things you did talk about was going to just deplenish my testosterone. So that's why I started, really using my program again to keep testosterone levels higher. But I know a lot of times when doctors, not a lot of times, but there's times when doctors they just want you to get better at what's happening to you. So they're going to give you the prescription medication. But I think it's up to you to say, okay, by taking this, what maybe now when you're taking these medications, or you're going to your doctor, one of the things you want to ask is, okay, what am I going to be deficient of? What essential vitamins and minerals I'm going to be deficient of when I'm taking this, and what else should I be supplementing with?
Correct.
While I'm taking this. So you're taking your health into your own hands, as opposed to expecting your doctor to tell you that. Because again, I don't expect my doctor to be able to tell me all that stuff. He's got a lot of things going on. He's trying to make me healthy with whatever we're trying to fight. So for us, we need to take that responsibility. Okay, I'm taking this, fine. I know I have to take this to survive, or to reverse what I have. But what else should I be taking? What am I going to be deficient of? What's going to happen to my body? Let's take some other blood tests. Like, let's do other things. That's our responsibility.
Yeah, and I love you say that you take it into your own hands, right? Because your doctor only has a finite amount of time to spend with you, and really his or her biggest focus is risk mitigation, so that you don't develop, your condition doesn't worsen, or you don't develop additional health issues.
Right.
It behooves you as the patient to reach out to individuals like a pharmacist, like a naturopathic doctor like myself, to help you manage and create a personalized treatment plan that considers all of the medications that you're taking, the diet that you're on, the lifestyle that you're leading, and ensuring that you have a very comprehensive plan going for you.
So that's amazing. So thank you. So let's just go over quickly again. Just let's list, if you guys are listening right now. This has been incredible, specifically for me too, just to know that a lot of the supplements that I'm bringing into my business and to these guys are supplements that they're deficient of, that they're going to need, that are going to be helpful. I'm just not here to just throw supplements at people for the sake of throwing supplements at people.
Yeah, if you're going to take something, you need to know why you're taking it.
Exactly. So it's very important that we went through this, because now everyone can see, okay, these are the 7, well, there's 10 things on this, but the 7, crucial ones that we need. We talked about vitamin D3. We talked about protein, just regular protein, which you're going to get through food. We talked about whey protein. That was the number one, guys. So I want you to asterisk that on your list. Whey protein, and you know where you can get that from. Magnesium, that's another huge one. So, they're all huge, but magnesium, omega-3s, get that in you. We talked about B12, right?
So B6.
B6, sorry.
B6, yeah.
B6, zinc.
Yeah.
Where am I going here?
Fiber.
Fiber, right?
Fiber.
And
antioxidants.
Antioxidants, thank you.
Yeah.
I can't read my writing right now. I wrote so many things on this page. I'm like, where am I? And then whatever you're deficient in.
Specifically yourself.
Yeah.
That's right.
Awesome. This is amazing. I love it. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Yeah, guys, that's the takeaway is start looking for multivitamins, start looking for supplementing. Again, nothing's going to, food is number one. You have to make sure that if you're not eating healthy and you're just trying to take these supplements to say, okay, well, I'm going to still eat chips, I'm still going to drink alcohol, I'm still going to, eat processed foods, but I'm going to take these supplements, they're going to help me. No, that's not how these work. You got to eat healthy. You've got to start getting the foods that have these micronutrients and others, and the right macros, the healthy foods. Stay away from the sugars and the sodium and all that stuff. And then add these, right? Then now go out and start getting these or order them or what have you. So now your health is number one. You've got the essentials that you need and the ones that most men are deficient. And then, once you have that base, get to your doctor, get that test done, find out what you're really deficient in and what you need to focus a little bit more on. And let me ask, and please you tell everyone, how can they reach you? Because you do things virtually. Like let's say someone's in the UK, let's say someone's in Australia, let's say someone's in the US. Can they still contact you? Can you still help them?
So the way that it works as a naturopathic doctor in Canada is I can do virtual appointments so long as they're actual residents of Ontario.
Okay.
So that's the limitation. That being said, I can assist with co-consulting with their healthcare provider.
Okay, so
to ensure that everything is kosher and up to snuff. Yeah.
Because I'm kind of putting on the spot here because and I don't mean to do this, but I just want to see, because these guys kind of like, okay, they look to you as like, okay, Dr. Dom, she's giving me the goods. Maybe if I can just reach out to her through email or whatever and ask her a question, she can point me in the right direction.
That's right.
Okay, that's cool.
That's definitely cool.
Okay.
They can follow me on Instagram at Dr._Dominika_ND.
Okay.
And they can direct message me there.
Right.
I also work at Wealth Pharmacy and Clinic in downtown Toronto and Clarity Health in Burlington. So I work in 2 different locations, but they can reach out to me with any questions if they need any clarification on my recommendations today. Everything that I recommended is evidence-based.
Right, yes.
For example, you didn't hear me talk about collagen because if I were to stratify the most important nutrients, collagen is not as impactful as protein in general or whey.
Right.
Okay. So I wanted to make sure that the message today is evidence-based interventions for optimizing men's health. And so if you didn't hear it today, it means the evidence is probably not as strong.
Right.
For that.
I love it. That's huge. So thank you so much for being on the podcast, guys. The essential nutrients that you need, get it in you. And again, thank you so much. I'll have all the links, even in this video. You'll see a link to hook up with Dom. If you have any questions, please hit her up. She'll help you. She'll guide you. And we're here for you. So thank you so much. And thank you for being on the podcast.
It was an honor. Thank you very much.
Thanks.